My topic is how Kowloon Walled City represents utopia of today's Hong Kong. And there's an introduction first. And I will introduce a little bit of the origin of utopia, Thomas More utopia, and explain the definition and context of utopia has been changing through time determined by whatever people were pursuing at that time. And I will be explaining 3 key elements of a utopia according to Francois and books, and an existing society under criticism, a model space proposed, and a model society that is housed within this model space. And why we need to talk about Kowloon Walled City as a utopia? Because utopia is a blueprint of a desirable constructed space, and we can study Kowloon Walled City as a blueprint to craft a better cityscape for Hong Kong in terms of a highly demanding living space. The study of Kowloon Walled City would provide an alternate solution for urban planning in Hong Kong and even the world in the future. And in this paper, I will first introduce the origin of Kowloon Walled City and the original settings of the city, and then I will explain the urban planning tactics of the builders even the resources were limited, and we will study how the structure and governance create a connected society, and at last, we will explain how it fits the key elements of the utopia. In the first section, I will introduce the origin and the original setting of Walled City. And beginning in the 40s, the site originally a small military compound, and until the World War II and the China, and it makes a lot of people, and the population explodes because of the refugees comes to Hong Kong, and the Walled City was a settlement for that. And its networks of it has a network of basic timber and corrugated metal shacks springing up on a first-come, first-served basis as new arrivals found a suitable piece of land to claim as their own, and the individual units were small, with a footprint of little more than 20 to 25 square meters, and water came from wells and field government standpipes, while lighting and cooking relied on kerosene. And by this limited resource, this finite resource, how could the city runners create a model space and model society? That will be discussed in the section 2. In the 70s, the city practiced the high-rise architecture due to the limited space. And in this section, we introduce the signature structure of the Kowloon Walled City, like the narrow street, the interconnected staircase, and the compact and closed community. And this compact society within the compact space reveals good social condition, and the neighborhood connection were good too in that time. It was a tight communication, and according to the critic of daily life, it presents a Marxist materialist critiques of everydayness as a soul-destroying feature of modernity and social interaction and the material environment. He criticized the banality of the subway work-sleep life of the suburban commuters, and is a product of capitalism and consumerism. And the structure of walled cities oppose this kind of idea. The structure of the city, like the confined space of each buildings and also raw environment, dribbling sewers and mice, they act as a barrier for enterprise and big commercial company to get in. And so the structure of the city protects the people, and it counterbalances the soul-draining consumer capitalism from getting into this society. And also it allows the citizen to practice emancipation of moments like the experience of revelation, deja vu sensations, but especially love and community struggle. And also it can be shown by the good relationship among the neighborhood, and also the relationship of the whole compacted society. And except the unique construction of the walled city, there's also one feature that defines Kowloon Walled City. That is the ungoverned nature of the city. There's no unrestricted area like Kowloon Walled City nowadays, and underground power act as the authorities there. Is it also the key factor of Kowloon Walled City being a utopia? Will Kowloon Walled City be Kowloon Walled City without the ungoverned condition? In this section, we should explore the essence of the governance of the unrestricted condition and how it can apply to today's world. According to the article, The Utopia of Order versus Chaos, a conceptual framework for governance, organizational design, and governmentally in projects. The complexity of governance organization needs to be considered in the context of the profound structural change which our societies have undergone while transitioning from the era of traditional mass production to the current day project society. Governance should consider temporality, formal informal interaction at micro, meso, macro levels. But by this framework, we'll study how unofficial authorities like underground gangsters, the superpowers, how they organize the city, and how nowadays urban planners can learn from it. And the conclusion, I want to show that the Kowloon Walled City fits the three key elements of utopia proposed by this author, and the critique of an existing society, a model space proposed, and a model society that is housed within this model space. And I will conclude the three elements that makes Kowloon Walled City the utopia of Hong Kong, like the unique construction that allows compact communities, and also the compact communities and the governance of the underground power. And the idea of overpopulation was not relevant only to Hong Kong, but is becoming a major problem around the world, so it's become a more relevant question to us. And in the final project, I would like to create a utopia that everyone is free from that burden. I would imagine this world as a quiet place that no one can talk and see in this world, and they just live happily, or they just live the way they are. And this is a what if situation, that what if a world without noise and without the strength of looking. And in this utopia, the society, there's many daily objects and places will be disappeared because they're no use in this utopia. And like there are no phones and there are no theater and many other small things, they're disappeared. And this society, I would imagine how a man or a woman spend a day, how they drink, how they love, and how they eat. There would be an interesting scenario for me to explore in this work. And also, there's a world left with pure sensation and rationality, because in this world you can only feel things, you can only think about things, you cannot judge a things by its outlook. The vision in your head is no use in this utopia. And the space in this utopia, the utopia space will be free from so many objects and place. And where can they be entertained if no more cinema? Or many places will be in a different shape because of the nature of human beings is different. And this is the concept art of the artwork, but it obviously will not be just a photo. It can be a video, it can be a video, and or 3D graphic animations. And most importantly, I think the message of this work is to question about how utopia can affect our life, and how utopia make us think about the way we perceive things. And the way we perceive things can be different, and we may not hurt so many people if we don't see or shout or talk to people. Yes, this is my work concept, so that's it of my project presentation. And here's my bibliography.